All right, I know I said we were done, but we have one more small thing to do, and then we're ready to go to Prusa. So I'll show you what it is. Turn the pumpkin off, the stem off, and notice that your lid has a round bottom to it. 3D printing on a round bottom is really hard. It doesn't stick to the bed well. It creates all kinds of problems. So first we need to flatten this bottom out, and it's a pretty complicated thing to do. I figured out a good method for it, I think. Let's get to it. So we're going to create a sketch first on this flat top of the lid. Then we're going to flip the model over, and we're going to draw from the center of this graph a circle that's bigger than our lid. Doesn't matter how big, much bigger, just bigger. We're going to hit E for extrude. We're going to extrude the circle shape, and we're going to extrude this middle piece. So keep clicking until it turns pink in the middle like this. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to extrude out. Doesn't matter how far, as long as it goes. In fact, I might just do all the way through here, and it'll go perfectly all the way through. And then I'm going to click OK, and now we've just flattened the lid, but we've also deleted our front part of our lid. So to get that back, we're going to create a sketch on this part around the flat part of the lid, and then we're going to simply quickly extrude this piece and the center piece down 2 millimeters. But if we leave it just like that, notice how it's straight down and not with this taper. So we're going to match that taper from before. I did 35 degrees. You have to remember back to see what you did. Whoops, that's positive. I wanted negative. So I want the taper in and not taper out. And then that should match pretty well with this angle right here. So they're going to look a little more consistent. Okay. Now we have a lid with a flat printable bottom. This will be super easy to print this. Turn the pumpkin back on, the stem back on. Now we're ready to go to Prusa. Okay, we have this in 3 pieces. All 3 pieces we're going to have to send over. So I'm going to start with my pumpkin. I'm going to right click on the pumpkin body in the bodies folder. Come down to Save as Mesh. Change the format to 3MF, or STL works fine too. Doesn't matter what you use. Check the unit type. If it doesn't say millimeter here, hit cancel. Go to your document settings and switch from centimeters to millimeters. Although if you've been modeling in centimeters, you've modeled something that's this big. So you're going to probably have some issues. Let me know. I will help you figure out how to fix anything that's messed up. All right, so I'm going to go back to my bodies, my pumpkin body. I'm going to go Save as Mesh. I'm going to make sure it says 3MF. My refinement I'm going to set to high because I've got a lot of detail in this. And then I'm going to click OK. Now you need to go find, you're going to save this to the flash drive on your computer, and your flash drive is called ENR and then your computer number. So ENR 3B or ENR 8C. Find that, that's the flash drive over here. If you can't find it, let me know, I will help you. I'm going to save mine in my pumpkin folder here, and I'm going to call this one, For Me, Jack O'Lantern Video Version. Okay, and I'm going to click, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this right there. Perfect. Give that a few seconds to do its thing, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the lid. So right click on the lid, Save as Mesh, 3MF high, click OK. Make sure it's going to the same place as before, and for me, I'm going to call this video. Give it some time to do its thing, and then one last one for the stem. So Save as Mesh, 3MF high, OK, and stem, video, save. Awesome. So now I've got all this done. I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to close out Fusion. Free up some of the resources for my computer and open up Prusa Slicer. All right. So mine comes through as set up already. I don't think yours does. So let's go through that real quick. First thing I'm going to do is get the right printer. So you're going to click over here on printer. If it already says MK3S or MK3S Plus, you're good. If not, you're going to do add remove printers, and you're going to do add remove presets. The next screen will look different from different people. Sometimes it'll say install. Click on the install button, and then it will take you to this page. The printer we have, and if you ever forget the name of the printers on the printer signs by all the printers, But we have the MK3 family and we have the MK3S, 3S Plus, and we use 0.4 nozzles for all of our printers. So make sure this is selected on and nothing else is selected. And then we'll go with next. We don't have these types of printers. They're cool printers. We don't have them, but that's okay. Other vendors, we don't have any of those printers. We have only one type of printer, and we don't have any custom printers. Next. Now you're going to click on none to turn off all of the different types of filament. These are all the different types of plastic you can print with. And then go down here and go to generic. In fact, if I click on generic here, it's faster because it just brings the generic ones up. And I can just click on PETG. Generic PETG is what we're looking for. Oh wait, Overture. Oh, it only has PLA at this point. Overture is the brand name that we use, but they only have Overture PLA. Hopefully they'll get an Overture PETG sometime soon. So let's go back actually to generic, and generic PETG is checked, and then just hit finish. Make sure it says generic PETG Prusa i3 Plus, and then switch this to 0.3 millimeter draft. That's the thickest layer height. All right, from here I'm gonna file, I'm gonna go import and import STL or 3MF, and I'm gonna bring my jack-o'-lantern over first. Awesome. And now I'm gonna right away, I'm just gonna go file, import, and I'm gonna go and import my lid video and click open. Now, if you wanted to click the lid and the pumpkin as different colors, just do them on different printers and you wouldn't both bring them both in, you would do them separately. I'm not gonna bring the stem in because the stem's definitely gonna be a different color for me. I'm gonna hit the auto arrange button, and that's gonna move them around some. And I'm gonna look around a little bit. And I'm actually gonna move the face because the face is gonna need to be supported. I'm gonna move the lid over here a little bit and move the face back from the edge and just take a look at how things look. And that looks pretty good. I've got like, this is tight on this side and not on this side. So I'm gonna move it over here some. Look at it from above. Yeah, I'm gonna move it back here some. I wanna try and stay tight to the middle if I can, because the middle is where the heat from the bed is going to be the most consistent. So I'm just going to move around until I feel like I have something good. And then I'm going to hit the slice now function. Because we have it in 0.3 draft, it's going to slice it pretty quickly. If you had this at a lower level, it's going to have to create more slices, and it's going to take substantially longer. So that's a mistake sometimes people make, is they have this on too high. Especially this first slice through, I always put it on 0.3. Or I typically do, especially on a big build like this. That way it can slice fast, I can look for problems right away. Okay, so now we're done slicing. I'm gonna use the arrow keys. I'm pushing the down arrow, and I'm looking for places that, ooh, right there. So if I notice, all of these little pieces are printing over air right now. So when the printer got to this layer right here, it would start printing a little bit of plastic on air. That's not going to work, and all these layers are going to have to be resting on air. None of that's going to print. So I'll have to fix that. And as I come down, I'm looking for more places where that happens. This is all good, like in through the eyes here. Everything is on top of the layer below it, so that's good. All of that's good, so the eyes all look good. And then the next problem comes in, yep, with the teeth, kind of what I thought. Notice how when I get to this part, right? Well, this part down here for sure, right? So this first layer is over air, and it doesn't connect until like 20 layers up. Well, that's not gonna print at all. So we have those two problems to solve. The rest of it looks good. Let's check the lid real quick. Yeah, it looks like the lid is fully supported with plastic all the way down. So the lid will be just fine. All right, so in this build, we really can't design around having a mouth like this. One thing we could do though is in Fusion, we could slice our body in half and print it as 2 pieces and just mess around with stuff trying to get rid of some of this overhang. But we're not gonna be able to totally get rid of it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build what's called supports. Supports are these little structures that the 3D printer will build so that they can have something to stack a layer on and build up from that layer. And you'll see how they work in just a second. To do supports, we're going to need to come back to our 3D editor view, so out of the sliced view, and we're going to click on the thing we want to have supported, and we're going to come over here and click on Paint on Supports. Now before we add supports, it's good to come over here and check where it says supports, it says none, and you're going to say for support enforcers only. What an enforcer is you can do like supports everywhere. Let me show you what that looks like actually. Let me hit escape on this tool, and I'm going to do supports everywhere. I'm going to reslice it. Don't do this. It'll take a long time for your computer to do this work, and you'll see what it does. I mean, even my computer, it takes a few minutes for it to do all of this. And it's going to build these green structures everywhere. And you might be like, oh, well, that's the quickest, easiest way to do it. But ripping all of this stuff off your model makes an ugly surface, and it's time consuming. It's just a real nuisance. So if you don't need supports, you want to avoid them. Like, we don't really need any of these supports around these green things, around the lid or around the base of our pumpkin. We will need them right through here to support the teeth. And you can see what happens is they build up sort of this like back and forth empty structure to barely support stuff. All right, so from there, let's go back to the 3D views where you are right now, and we're going to just tell it exactly what we want to support so we don't get very many supports from it. All right, so I'm going to do paint on supports here, and I'm going to come down here and turn on, let me remember this one, highlight overhang. So I'm going to increase it. So one thing I'm looking for, well, first of all, I want to see inside my pumpkin, and right now I can't. So what I'm going to do is turn on I'm going to increase the angle right now of this clipping view. What that does is it cuts away part of the pumpkin for me, so I can see on the inside of it. So I don't want that view because I want to see the mouth as well. So I'm going to rotate so the mouth is this way, and then I'm going to turn this view. I'm going to reset the direction to the direction I'm facing and turn it like that. I want some of the mouth left. Okay, now I can kind of see inside everything. So I'm going to come up here and do highlight overhang by angle. And this lets me see, I'm going to now support all of that up there. And that is good. I don't want to put too much supports on the inside. So a support's going to be built up to wherever the purple is. I don't want supports on the inside because that's going to be really hard to get those out. And notice now that I'm also supporting all of this and through here. All the teeth are being supported now as well. And I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good actually. And so I'm going to do enforce. When you click on the enforce, that sets the purple color in place. Now we over enforced a little bit. I don't want enforcers out on the outside here because that's going to be hard to peel off and make the surface ugly. I'm going to try and print them without enforcers to start with. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and turn on Smart Fill and reduce the angle to like 13 degrees. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to, I don't know if this is going to work actually. And then let me do this actually. Let me undo all of that hole. And now I'm going to come over here, and I don't actually need to support this inside because once the teeth fill up, it should be able to, well, no, that's not true. I don't want to, let me look at the front of it. Nope, for me, these are flat, so I can actually turn off. I'm going to right click on these instead of left click, and that turns the enforcers off. So here, here, and here. So now it's just going to support the bottom of the teeth, and this will be able to bridge over no problem. And the other thing I want to do is I want to turn off all of this at the bottom here. Let's see what that just did. Oh man, it grabbed everything. Okay, that grabbed everything on the outside, so I think we're good. Let's see. And then over here on everywhere, I'm going to do for support enforcers only. So it's going to build support for just the teeth, and then some support for that inside ring inside there. All right, so let's slice now and see what happens. Not 100% sure how this is going to work. So all these features with these cool features are really new to Prusa. I haven't used them that much. Okay, so I've got my teeth supported. That looks fantastic. The bottom isn't supported. It'll probably be fine. And then the inside's all supported. So yeah, I think that's worked exactly like I was hoping it would. Perfect. Now this bottom might print out a little rough. If it's really bad, I could go back and enforce and put some, and not delete all those enforcers like I did before. All right, yours should look something like this as well. If it doesn't, let me know. I will help you get it like this. This is now ready to print. So I'm gonna go choose a printer that I want of the color I want. I'm gonna pull its SD card and bring that back. Okay, I've got my SD card. I'm printing mine in gold, so I think it'd be kind of cool to see how it turns out. I'm gonna put it into my computer. This screen I don't think pops up for you, but if it does pop up for you, just go ahead and hit close. And then you're going to come over here to this here, and you're looking for the one called Prusa. And I'm going to call this one, yep, I'm just going to leave just like it is, jack-o'-lantern video for me. That's what I'm going to call it. And now it's all ready to go. So I'm going to hit eject, pull that one out. I'm actually going to grab, I'm going to print the top in black. So I'm going to grab the SD card from the black, and now I'm going to print the stem next. So I'm going to go File, Save Project As, and you're going to save it on the thumb drive. So find that ENR 3B, whatever yours is, and I'm going to put Prusa after it, so I know that it's the Prusa slicer file. Hit Save. I promise we're almost done. And then I'm going to do File, New Project. I'm going to say discard. Yeah, discard all those settings. I don't want to repeat them over. File, Import, STL. I'm going to bring the stem video over. Click Open. It looks like it's ready to go. I'm going to hit Auto Arrange just in case it's not in the middle. It'll put it in the middle. And then I'm just going to go straight to Slice Now. I don't think I need, nope, no supports. Everything else looks good. Slice Now. I'm just going to do a real quick check, drag down. Yeah, it looks like all the layers are right on top of each other. It's kind of fun to see it print like that. And so once I'm done there, I'm just going to stick my SD card in. And again, I don't think yours will pop up this screen, but if it does, just close it. And then I'm going to click on this little button here. Find the one that says Prusa down here somewhere, and then stem video, and hit save. I'm going to eject the SD card. I now have my two SD cards, stem, pumpkin. I'm going to make sure I clean the printers really well before I print anything on them. So remember, 3 good sprays from the bottle, and then scrub them down with some pretty good force pushing down on it. All right, you've got your jack-o'-lantern. I hope you enjoyed the process. I know there's a lot of detail to it, but I hope you had a good time learning how to use Fusion and Prusa and 3D printing. Have a great one, everybody. Bye.